Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. Show dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other cult classics. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Hello, Joe.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. We took a little break from Japanuary to talk to Brandon Traust.
It was fun.
Still don't know how to say his name. I think in the episode I even gave him the option to correct me, but he did not. But must have been doing something right, and I already forgot. So good feedback on that episode. That was fun.
Yeah, I like that. He was a good guest. Good to
Great
talk to.
guest.
Very insightful.
I really liked the and by the way, for those of you, well, we'll get into it, but I really wasn't sure what you would do talking to a cinematographer or a director of photography, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't sure what we were going to get from that. That was probably my favorite topics to talk about.
Yeah, it was cool.
And showing the amount of work that those guys do, and it kind of seems like we talked about it afterwards. They're really carrying the weight.
I would agree with that.
Seems like everyone else just kind of shows up, and they remind me of an offensive line in football. It's like they're not going to get on the fucking box of anything, but
You're not buying their jersey, but
if they suck, then
yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter who your director is, who your fucking writer is, who the stars are,
unsung hero.
Yeah, truly. So that was really cool. So thanks to Brandon and the LA Film School for setting that up, and producer Lexi for also setting that up. So thank you guys for that. So yeah, we were actually going to record The Grudge after that. We did not know how long that interview was going to be. It ends up being an hour and a half. And now we're here. We couldn't record another episode. So what we're going to do is Pulse was going to be recorded this week anyway. Traust took the spot of The Grudge, which we will be recording soon and releasing on Patreon as a Patreon exclusive bonus. We'll be doing the Japanuary Grudge episode for Patreon. So head on over to patreon.com/IHateHorror to check that out after we record it. So, and also live show. I think this drops next week. So this Friday, the 24th, we're doing Sadako versus Kayako. I think Sadako versus Kayako. Yeah, I think that's right. The Ring versus The Grudge. They made this in 2016, right? Right at the boom of these movies.
Can't wait.
They said, let's take advantage of this this firestorm of fandom for these movies.
Do you understand how hard of a time I had following any of these movies as a standalone? Can you imagine what this crossover is going to do to me?
So we didn't talk about The Grudge on the show, unfortunately, but who you got in the fight? Who do you think? Sadako versus Kayako?
Sadako.
All right, I'm going to choose,
what are they even going to do? Just creep around corners at each other the entire time?
Listen, Japanuary is never happening again. So if you like Japanuary, I'm sorry, this is it. Enjoy it. This was our foray into it. It's done. I can't do these fucking weird ass ghost movies anymore. And by the way, The Ring, far and away, the best one.
The best. Easily.
Don't even come at me.
Juan disappointed me. We'll talk about it on Patreon.
I couldn't.
I had high hopes. I
could not believe it when I saw it. I just was in disbelief of what I was watching. Now,
speaking of disappointments, I don't think I've ever been more disappointed by a movie than either of these polls that I watched. And there is a clear cut better one. but that's only
Okay.
because the other one is so fucking bad. I would argue, this is not even hyperbole, I would argue the American remake of The Pulse is the most miserable 90 minutes I've ever sat through. Ever. I did laugh out loud twice, so maybe that gives us a couple points, but it was not intentional. Dude, this sorry, I have to get the scene where Sam Levine sees his roommate and he I don't know what he does, disappears into the wall.
Oh,
It's
yes.
the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It was supposed to be scary.
It's unreal. I actually had some questions about this because I let's see, what did I wrote down? I had a bunch of questions. Which one would you choose? Oh, so I wrote this after I watched the American one. I said, which one would you choose? Because honestly, it's a really hard choice for all of the wrong reasons.
That's correct.
For all of the wrong reasons. It makes it a very difficult choice of which one you would watch. The
first one, the original Japanese one is like 9 hours long. And I don't know I don't know what's happening. I don't care about what's happening. It's hard to see. It's very grainy. Like, I hate it. I fucking hated it. But I think I would rather watch that. Like, given the choice, I'd rather watch that 100 times over revisiting
Well,
the American.
my second question was, does the American version justify in any way the extra 30 minutes of the Japanese one? Or, well, 45 minutes, I think, of the Japanese one.
I mean, no, it doesn't.
But at least, okay, the American one at a point, and we've talked about this recently. I forget which movie we were talking about. It might have been The Ring, honestly, where it was just like, yeah, we're not going to explain this. Like, fuck it. It's just, it is what it is. It's the ghost, that comes out of a TV. Fuck it. Like, deal with it. And we were like, yeah, you don't need to explain everything. Just, it's fine. Sometimes
I know where you got it.
Sometimes you have to tell us what the fuck is happening and why it's happening. And I don't think either did it, but at least the Japanese one was sort of like an art film in a way. I got like an art house vibes from it.
I did too. And it was at least, I don't want to say interesting because there's nothing interesting about it, but they made it was a zombie movie, but except it was ghosts.
Yes. The Japanese one?
Yeah. At the end, it's like, it's all apocalyptic. They're all taken over.
Oh, yes. Sure. See, I agree with that. Like, the vibes, sure. The American one clearly also saw that aspect and was like, what if we make the ghosts zombies and like banging on the doors of a building only to walk through them because they're fucking ghosts?
Because they're ghosts. The guy has a guy's stealing off the room. God, I hate that. I hate both of these so much.
It's fucking unreal. It's unreal. So obviously we don't like these. Rotten Tomatoes. I think you're kicking my ass in these scores. Producer Lexi needs to get us a spreadsheet on Google Drive with who's winning and what. But I'm pretty sure you're beating my ass in 2025. So we got the American Pulse and we got the Japanese Pulse. I'll go first. American. I don't even know where to go with these. I mean, there's no way they got good reviews, right? It's like impossible. It can't possibly have happened. Like, there's just no fucking way. So I'm gonna go for American. We haven't had one that had like really low scores yet. I'm gonna go, I don't know, 15% critic and I just can't imagine a human being liking these. It's like crazy to me. I'll go 40% user.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you give American one?
I'm giving 10% critic, 12% user. Okay. Anything higher is fucking malarkey. Remake, critic 11, audience 27.
Wow. That's crazy. So Joe, you hit on the critic. You hit on both. You hit on both. Good job. Fuck. Japanese pulse. Okay, now this one's a little weirder too. Because I do think that this was a little artsy. I just don't know. I'll go. I'm just gonna 50% critic and 60% user.
All right. I'm going 40-45. 40 critic. Oh shit. 76 critic, audience 60.
Oh, I got that. Okay, so I won on the Japanese one. Wow. That's pretty high. That's pretty high. I kind of see that. It makes sense. It's there's this like artistic element to it, and it didn't help for me. It didn't make it feel better for me. I don't know if age has tarnished this movie. I don't think so though. Oh, here's my last question on these two. It's not my last. I have a million questions, but which one has shittier lighting? Japanese or American?
All right. So let me ask you, define lighting.
Well, I'm not talking about just the disgusting pale shade of green that they shot the American one in.
What is that? Like
horrifying.
I texted both of you before. Like I wish we could have Brandon on to ask him what the fuck that is. It's weird.
And when we did The Ring, they talked about that, right? They talked about this guy using this lens filter to make it green. And I hated it in that, but it was much less severe. It seems like what happened was, and I'm just making this up, but I think this was a trend at this period, these early 2000s, mid 2000s, with this lighting. I don't know who started it. I almost want to guess The Ring might have actually started it. But I think where that guy used his lens and did all these things, I think these people just put a filter on the fucking movie in post and just were like, here, throw this fucking horrifying green over it.
It's like when you post an Instagram story and you can like slide right and it's just like shit color. Yeah, I think that's what they did.
It's really fucking bad. It's really fucking bad. And the Japanese one,
it's not well lit at all.
No, you can't see fucking anything half the time. And the other part of this is I don't understand, and I feel like we should just start talking about it, but the movies, but I don't understand, and both movies did it, which blew my fucking mind. I watched the Japanese, well, you watched the Japanese one first also. You watch the Japanese one, you walk away with a million questions, in my opinion. To me, nothing is really concrete in that. But one of my biggest questions in it was, okay, so these ghosts, I guess, are causing people to commit suicide. Some of them. The rest of them turn into dust.
Yep.
What do they
right, what's
doing?
happening?
What is the power the ghosts have? And so again, there is this like artistic element to the Japanese one where you want to give them some leeway, and that's why they're not explaining everything all the way, is because it's artistic. Think about it. And I do think there are like stronger themes in the Japanese one, like cultural stuff. But then the American one, I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's see what they do. Maybe they'll, fix some of the problems. And they left all of them and made more. The same thing happens. Some people are killing themselves. Some of them are turning into dust. Some of them are being sucked into a wall and turning into a blotch. Some of them turn into ghosts, not all of them. What this is makes no sense.
Right. I completely agree.
It's fucking wild. So the Japanese one comes out 2001. I could not find a budget. Some people claim the budget was 25 million, which I find very hard to believe. And they only
There's
made
no way.
there's no way. I know. And it only made 318,000 in the box office, but we've never done international movies to look at that box office. That might be a strong box office for an international movie because they don't play them in America, right? It's just it probably majority played in Asia, right? East Asia. So I don't know. It's a weird dynamic, but there's no way it cost 25 million to fucking make. That can't.
I would
possibly
have
be.
questions where that money went.
20 million, but it's not because it's not on the official IMDb and it's not on Wikipedia. It's on these other weird sites. I just don't believe that 20 million, unless they knew, unless it was just like a gold rush and they were like, let's pump 20 million into it and the Americans will buy it and remake it for their audiences. Like maybe that's the goal in it all, and we'll make our money back that way. I don't know. But anyway, it's 2 hours long, which is the first movie we've done in Japanuary with a series, the original being longer than the remake.
Yes.
The Grudge was the same length, I think, and The Ring, the original, was shorter than the remake. So,
can I just say real quick, like, I remember when these movies were released, including Pulse, but I did not go see Pulse because I didn't think it looked good. But horror was being revitalized at that time. People were clamoring to go see these. You know, The Grudge was a huge hit. People liked these remakes, or maybe I don't know if they liked them, but they were anticipating them. They were going to see them, and it was like all the rage. Why? I don't understand.
I don't know. As we've learned, even The Ring wasn't anything to, be desired. It just had, I don't know. Maybe we were able to be force fed easier back then.
Okay.
And it was just because, as we mentioned, The Ring and The Grudge were everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere. Spoofed everywhere. And maybe we just were told these are good movies. These are the movies you need to watch. And we were like, yeah, all right, that's fine. I'm down with that. I don't know. Because
I mean, I guess it's accessible for like all ages, because it's nothing like too crazy.
That's true.
Younger kids can go see it, I guess.
Could you imagine if I showed this to James? He would turn it off in 15 minutes. What the fuck am I watching? This fucking sucks.
It's funny that is a good point. Like, I feel like this generation's kids are more aware because they have so much access to everything.
Mm-hmm.
They can recognize good from bad. Like, there's no way you could show this to a 12-year-old and they'll be like, hey, this is cool.
This is sick.
What the fuck is this?
Fucking dog shit. Yeah. They have 8,000 movies at their disposal on Netflix. This doesn't even touch them.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Kenji Mizuhashi plays Taguchi. He was actually in Godzilla -1, which was awesome.
Awesome.
Shun Sagata in it, who was in everything. If you needed a Japanese guy with a jaw of steel, he was your man. Fucking the Kill Bill movies. He was in Ichi the Killer. And those are the two main ones that I'd seen on this movie. So, two guys still working out there and internationally. So that's cool. I can't wait to talk about the cast of the American one.
It's nuts.
Fucking weird ass cast.
Hey, wait, can I ask you? Best actor in the American one?
Brad Dorff.
Yeah, no doubt. The guy showed up and acted his ass off for 2 minutes.
In a single scene, they randomly, and it's the spin around reveal, which I don't even think was an intentional reveal, but when you're watching a movie that bad and Brad Dorff turns around, you're like, oh, thank fucking God. Oh my
That was
God.
my exact reaction. I was like, fucking finally. Some light a fire under this cast.
Because you only see the back of his head and then he spins around and you're like, oh, thank you. The movie's saved. And then that's it.
His face
He's
is
there.
so animated when he's talking. Like it's the only time I was invested in anything anyone was saying. Like I was leaning forward. Like holy shit.
And all he says is, he's like, the internet's gonna kill us all. And everyone's like, shut up. And that's the end of the scene. And that's the end of Brad Dorff. I love it. Paying a guy like that to do that scene is insane. Insane. So let's go through it the same way we always do here. You open with the soothing sounds of a modem, which you'll get to listen to a lot in this movie. It's not a fun sound to hear.
Foreshadowing.
Dude, I can't even fucking deal with this movie. I also can't deal with how ham-handed the American one is with the internet stuff. The internet obviously plays a part in the Japanese one, obviously, but it's so not crowbarred into your throat about it. And to a point, I'm not sure the internet really was the catalyst for everything. I mean, it is, but
It is,
but it wasn't like the fucking internet, like the American one.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
The Japanese one was like, hey, maybe we can mention it once and then people will understand. Whereas, like you're saying, every character that comes on the screen is like, the internet. Like every 2 seconds.
Have you ever used the internet before? And it's 5 years after this one. 2001, internet access, and they make that clear in the Japanese one too. Internet access not readily available to everybody.
Right.
A lot of people learning about the internet for the first time and being like, what
2001
the fuck is this?
Is when we got like our first home computer that we used regularly. Like that's when I got a screen name and all that shit. So like it was a new process for us. 2006, everybody, what I think the iPhone came out 06, 07, right? Like,
oh yeah, it did. It for sure did. Wait, holy shit. I didn't even put that one together. It was definitely 2007 or 8.
January 9th, 2007.
Yeah. That is crazy because I mean, it regardless of whether you know the iPhone's out or not, they're using cell phones to send pictures and they're talking about watching porn on their phones and shit. So it's a different time and it defeats the purpose of being like, did you hear about the internet? And just stop with this. Anyway, let's focus on the Japanese one here. We go to a ship at sea. There's a woman telling us a tale. We meet a couple women who work with plants, I believe. And they're concerned about their friend Taguchi, who is supposed to have a disc for them, but has been missing. Taguchi's apartment, there's green lights, there's flickering. It looks like it's shot underwater. I don't know, man. It is what it is. No reason for it. When his friend Michi goes to check on him, he's acting weird. She gets the discs from him. Some classic floppy discs, baby. Remember classic floppy disk? Do you remember I was just looking this up recently, actually. I remember my parents getting a digital camera for the first time. And when I looked it up, I didn't realize we bought one of the first consumer grade digital cameras. Do you remember when digital cameras took floppy disks? You put the floppy disk in. Dude, it was
they were that big?
Weird. They were huge. They were like a big square. It was a Sony digital camera, and you plugged a floppy disk into it.
Wow.
And this is so weird. I was literally just looking this up last week. And so I found some websites talking about that camera because I was just curious about it. I was like, what was that? And like, how did you put images on? Floppy disks were like 32 megabytes, like in total. Like you couldn't put a ton of shit on there. And I was like, how are they storing photos in that? you know? And
Yeah.
so I looked it up online, and there's this guy that reviews these old digital cameras like to this day. The pictures on it are so good. They're like incredible. And he's like, they were condensing them into like 73 kilobytes per photo. And he's like, and it makes you wonder what they're doing now. He's like, why were they able to compress it so much? And now you need like a terabyte, like SD card to put pictures
Right.
on. He's like, this something weird. He like notes it. He's like, this doesn't make any sense. And it makes you wonder what they're actually doing with these cameras now. But yeah, so super weird. But anyway, that's that. I also used to put South Park games on floppy disks. Did you ever do that?
Okay. I did not.
I had the internet way
I
too
am
young. I had
not.
access to the internet way too young.
I can
Dude, I was
still barely use the internet, as you know. So.
I was downloading these weird South Park games, and I would put them on floppy disks and save them.
Dude, it has to be. It has to be because. Sorry, my mind's running all over. What kind of South Park games were you playing?
No, I mean I don't care. I don't know how to explain them. They were almost in the vein of what was that? Newgrounds?
I'm not familiar.
I don't know, but people Newgrounds, the fucking games, like they had like they were famous because they had like the school shooting game, but then they had like all
Could you
the
play
other
those on your the calculator?
No. Oh, I did play some games on my calculator. All I wanted, dude, I had no friends in high school, so like no one had the game, but I would see people playing the weed dealer game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was the sickest. That was fucking crazy.
What were those calculators called?
TI-83 pluses.
Dude. All day in math class.
Schools making your family go out and buy $100 calculator
Just for you to do that.
for me to get a D in algebra.
Dude, listen, you were able to make notes on those calculators. I'm sure this is not news to anybody in 2025, but if you got a copy of the test, you could just put the entire test in your calculator and they'd be like, well, you could only have your calculator on your desk. And you're like, okay. So I'm just going to look at every answer and finish in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was too afraid to do that. I was too afraid to do that, so I got a D in algebra. But yeah, no, those games were sick. But no, Newgrounds. You don't know Newgrounds? The online games? What?
I never even heard of it.
That's so fucking crazy. They had like the most insane violent games. Anyway, yeah, they were weird South Park games. What were you gonna say before that?
I was thinking they probably make you buy the terabyte. Like they realize they can compress it more, but you have to spend more money to get like the terabyte one. Kind of like the light bulb, because like they invented the light bulb so that it will never run out. It'll just always be on electricity. But then they're like, hey, people won't ever buy them once they buy it once, so we have to make them burn out. And that has to be the same kind of mentality.
Dude, so recently, remember when the LED light bulbs came out and they last forever? The LEDs. They're like, they never burn out. Right. And now I've been seeing articles where it's like, these LEDs only last like 2 or 3 months. And
yeah, they put it on the box now.
They did it again.
Life expectancy 6 months. Like that's the cell now. When it should be for fucking forever. There's a light bulb this is the oldest. I don't know why I know so much about light bulbs, but you can look up the oldest light bulb in America. It's been on since like 1800 at some fire station because it's like the original one.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
we're all so stupid. We're all so fucking stupid. It's fucking crazy. They banned Red Dye 3.
They did. I just saw that.
That makes me a little nervous.
Why?
Well, just because, it was kind of a running joke, I feel like, for so long. Like, people that thought Red Dye 3 was bad were kind of kooky, Like,
I mean, I'm sure it's not good.
Why can't we just use food coloring?
I mean, I think that's the question. I think that's why are we putting Red Dye 3 in Fruit Loops?
Why is it called Red Dye 3? That seems...
Yeah, no, that's also alarming. Like somebody should, from the get-go, someone should have been like, hey. I mean, I don't know anything about it, so you can come at me and be like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't.
Agreed.
I don't know the effects that it actually has. It's just, why are we putting it in there when you can use food coloring? I agree with that.
or like berries. I don't know. Like
Yeah, like anything. It's
I'm
'cause
trying to think
yeah.
about something that's red because I feel like there's things that I've touched that are red and it just gets all over your fucking fingers and you like can't even get it off and you're like, what the fuck is this? And it'll be like fruit. You'll be eating. I want to say like
Yeah,
strawberries,
like a
but it might not be that.
raspberry. Yeah.
Yeah, and you like get it on your fingers and you have to like use soap to get it. You just throw some of that on it. What are you doing?
I'm with you,
Okay.
man.
Here's our Red Dead 3 talk. Getting political here.
Why
All
is
right.
that political?
Dude, the
I
fact
know
that
it
it's
is.
political is
Like
crazy.
people will make it political. Like, hey, you know, you gotta use berries. I'm with you.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I haven't even talked about this piece of shit yet.
we're, we're back, baby. Anyway, back into Red Dead 3.
I would much rather just read Red Dead 3 Conspiracy.
At this point, I really don't even want to go back into this. So Michi goes to Taguchi's house and no. Oh yeah, she'd gone into his house to get the discs. He's acting weird, and within a split second, she walks into the room and he's hung himself. It was an insane looking scene. The veins in his neck were crazy.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, and you're expecting like, hey,
It was promising.
yeah, very promising. I agree. I was like, ooh, all right. Guys, it goes downhill from here. The next day,
Can we just say real quick? There's two concurrent plot lines in this movie that will merge, but like it's not fun when they're not together because they're like, wait, what's happening?
we haven't talked about the Grudge yet, obviously, but the Grudge's time jumps
It's
were
very
some
hard
of the
to
most
follow.
infuriating things I'd ever seen. And what's worse was the Japanese one at least labeled them.
Right.
You know, they flash on the screen and be like, this person's name, and that's who you're following there. Okay, sure. Still didn't understand what was happening. The American one was just like, we're just gonna smash cut to the next thing.
And they did.
Forget letting them know what's happening. Just fucking cut to a different time period, a different person. Let's follow that guy around for 5 minutes. Like, what the fuck is happening? Anyway. So the next day they look at the discs, they find some weird pics of Taguchi looking at a computer screen, and in the computer screen is the same picture. And then they see Taguchi's face in a reflection on another screen, and they're like, what the fuck? I mean, that seems to make sense. The guy's face, he's standing right there, you know?
Yeah.
I think his reflection should be in that screen, but we watch this. I only called him Surfer Boy in this. I don't know. The surfer guy, he plugs into the internet for the first time, and he's reading a 100-page manual to get the internet started, which is crazy to think about now. And I remember those days where it was complicated, but a 100-page manual seems excessive. Anyway, this guy connects to the internet, starts seeing some weird shit of people, I don't know, sleeping, freaking out. I don't really know what the videos of these people are. I don't know what they represent. I don't know if they're dead or alive. And again, of all the things they bring over from the Japanese one to the American one, they, of course, took that also. We're like, let's just make sure we show weird videos that make no sense and never tell them what they were looking at. The screen flashes, would you like to meet a ghost? I also want to note that guy was ripping cigs at his computer table, and that's pretty sick.
Okay. A lost start.
I don't know why it made me think of it. I'm not a smoker. I never really was a smoker, except like when I was drinking and stuff for a period of time, like in my 20s. But dude, ripping cigs while just like surfing the internet, what a time. It's like something I've never experienced. And I was almost like, should I experience that one day? Like just sitting in my house, like browsing the internet, smoking a cigarette. That's, I don't know. Something about that. That night, his internet connects.
They took the red dye from us. And at least give us back smoking and movies.
In movies, yeah, bring that back, but also bring back smoking in
Real
homes.
life. Restaurants.
Closed windows, no ventilation, smoking. Who who doesn't want that back? Oh man. That night the internet connects by itself, starts showing weird pictures. We meet this guy Yabe, who's one of the crew in the garden area. He starts getting calls saying help over and over. When they look at his phone, it has the same picture of Taguchi on it. He goes to Taguchi's and finds a piece of paper that says "The Hidden Room." That'll play no point but keep happening. Don't understand what it means, and yeah. Also, the scorched silhouette where Taguchi was hung is there. When he comes back into the room, zombie Taguchi is there. Ghost Taguchi, zombie Taguchi, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
But it's not real because he's a ghost. Also, in Japan, according to these movies, it's so easy to gain access to a home where a fucking crime has occurred. A
So much
murder or a
crime.
suicide.
Dude, I had that thought watching like what was going on in Japan in the 2000s. Like everything's so bleak and depressing.
And everyone's like, hey, my friend got murdered or somebody I know committed suicide here. I'm just gonna walk into their house and take a peek for myself.
A little gander. Yeah.
Doors aren't locked. Nothing's happening. You just walk in and hang out for a little bit, try and catch the ghost. He's then visited by a lady ghost. It was almost an effective scene. She was dancing pretty sexy though. You know, she was getting a little freaky. And she gets him. She like pins him under the bed, but that's all we see. He's missing. He stops going to work. When he finally does show up, he starts acting weird. And the only thing he really does here is he tells Michi not to go into the forbidden room and not to go near Taguchi's house. And then she leaves work and sees a woman jump off a building.
Yes.
The trauma this woman has seen is unparalleled.
It's such a short period of time.
2 suicides in 2 days, and it's crazy. Meanwhile, the surfer boy's still getting connected to the internet, still seeing creepy videos. This time, a lot creepier, a lot more ominous. But again, you can't really see shit in the videos, so its impact on the viewer is minimal. He brings Haru over, who is a teacher at the college he's at, to investigate it further. She's a computer science person. She looks at it and is just like, this is weird. And then they meet again in the library where she shows him this weird computer program of dots. And it's like, these might be ghosts. And I think it was right about this point where I just was like, I don't think I'm going to understand this movie ever. I don't think there's a way to understand this. I don't know what the fuck the dots on the computer are the ghosts. Okay. And then he runs into a kid who's like, hey, you got to come with me because the afterlife isn't infinite and eventually souls will start spilling over.
Yeah.
And then he just shows him a ghost in the library. Okay. Sure. What? The fuck is happening?
Like,
Hey,
yeah, it seems just like a common occurrence at this point that people should be accepting, right? Like why is this happening?
Yeah. You're correct. It's fucking insane. So, Michi and her friend Junko, I know, Junko, I imagine is how it's pronounced. Junko. No, the widespread disappearance is happening. People are just disappearing. They're concerned, but not as concerned as they should be.
I'm sorry. Can I just jump to the American one real quick?
Sure.
Because they cut to a news anchor that's like, hey, 6,000 suicides in this small town yesterday. Not
Huh.
connected. Authorities say there's no concern, but they are baffled by the rate that is happening. There should be a much bigger concern. That's not.
What do you even do in that situation, though?
You leave town.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point. You know what was interesting? Did you read the Wikipedia for the Japanese one, like the plot of the Japanese one?
It's the only way I even remotely understood what I watched.
Okay, so sometimes we'll do a movie and you'll tell me something and I'll be like, I don't know, and we don't really totally know what happens. This one, the Wikipedia was the only thing that really told you what happened. And even the very last scene in this, where they take a boat and then she somehow ends up on a bigger boat, you don't see what happened. She's on a little boat, it cuts, and now she's on a giant boat. That's not discussed. Nothing's discussed, and nothing is explained. Then you go into the Wikipedia, and it's like, after being rescued by a much larger ship helmed by survivors. What? Where? Somebody tell me where that fucking information came from. That would have been great to have in this.
This is actually like very vindicating because like, am I an idiot?
No, dude, not at all. It was really weird, the stuff they glossed over, and then you read the Wikipedia, and it's explaining these gaps for you, and you're like, well, that's cool that it's written here, but is that real, and where did that information come from? And I think it happened with it definitely happened with another part. I'm trying to think about what it was. I think it was the explanation. Oh, it was in the Japanese one, and it was the explanation of the will to live.
Okay.
Which they hammer down your throat in the American one. Not hammer, I shouldn't say that. It just, there's a guy that does a monologue about it, and you're like, oh, okay. In the Japanese one, it's sort of implied, right? You could take away from it, but in the Wikipedia, it says it as if it's just a fact. It was like, the ghost takes away Taguchi's will to live, even though he had been fighting it for so long. And the scene is just him trying to ignore a ghost. And you're like, how do you fucking get that out of this? This is fucking bizarre. What are we talking about here? Anyway.
I love in all these Japanese versions, the ghosts are just like little silly gooses that sit on stairs.
They're so harmless. And then I love also the total swap on the American ones where the ghosts are like, okay, can we find a middle ground?
You know what? Shout out to the Japanese Pulse for bringing back that spooky woo sound every time a ghost comes on. Because that was like some Vincent Price shit. I didn't hate it.
I like that we're shouting that out. A 2001 movie using Vincent Price sound effects.
1950s theremin. Yes.
Shout out to them. Good job, guys. Oh, man. So anyway, this was another one you had to read the Wikipedia to figure out, because it doesn't matter. I don't care. Michi calls her boss. It doesn't matter. Watch the movie and read the notes on this scene because the two do not line up. Michi calls her boss. He's not there. She gets a call from Yabe saying, help me, help me. When she goes to check on him, she finds the burned in silhouette again. And that's that. Junko, dude, I gotta stop saying it like that. Junko, it's spelled Junk-O, Junko. So I'm sorry for mispronouncing it. Junko goes to look for her boss that didn't answer the phone and is not a character in this movie, by the way. It's just thrown in here. So Michi checks on her. Michi checks on Junko, who went to go look for the boss, and Junko has run into the lady ghost, but before she can get her, Michi saves her, but also not really. That's the other part about this that drove me nuts was you didn't know whether somebody was... What caused you to either kill yourself or turn into a silhouette or turn into a ghost? That is just not totally explained, because you would assume it was watching the video, right? Like The Ring, kind of.
Right.
But that wasn't the case. It was if you had a run-in with the ghost, but not everyone that has a run-in with a ghost does this.
Right.
Okay. Perfect. It was actually the perfect response. Because that's it. That's it. It's just a roll of the dice. You just don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, Surfer Boy goes to visit Haru. She's acting weird now. But then she acts normal again. And she's back to being normal. And then talking about how much she wanted to know what being dead was like when she was little. Haru is a fucking bummer to be around, I'll tell you that much. All she talks about is being lonely and how everything sucks. Like, when I was a little kid, all I wanted to do was be dead. What? What are you talking about? And then she also explains that the ghosts are all lonely. And okay. Sure. Whatever you say. Go back with Michi. She's nursing a catatonic-ish Junko. But while doing this, she sees a black mark. Because I guess Junko turned into a spot. And then the spot turns into Thanos dust, like from the Avengers, which that's a new feature in the in the dust spot. They're the dark spot storyline. That's new. We just watch it turn into dust. She actually tries to grab the dust to be like, Junko, come back. Would your mind just fucking explode?
You would collapse for sure.
Your friend just walked into a wall and turned into a spot, and then the spot turned into dust and flew out your window.
Yeah. Mine cannot comprehend. Yeah.
Oh, man. Surfer Boy sees sexy dancing ghost at the arcade. Again, it does nothing to him. It doesn't matter. He finds Haru smashing shit outside for some reason. And they run away together in an empty city.
Yes.
And that part is kind of cool, I guess. If you had anything kind of to, back it up, I guess.
Yeah, again, I got classic zombie movie vibes. They go to a populated place, try and salvage themselves, use resources, whatever.
Yeah,
like
they're on a train. There's no one on the train.
Yeah,
kind of cool. Haru runs away from him after the train abruptly stops. She goes back home and starts watching freaky videos while her printer starts spitting out paper that says the Forbidden Room. She watches a video of some guy with a bag on his head who shoots himself. That's new, too. That's insane. And then she starts seeing videos of herself. She tries to locate the camera because it looks like somebody's filming her from the closet. So she goes into the closet. There's no camera. And she's like, I'm not alone. And then she hugs and kisses the invisible camera, which is not there. Nor is there a ghost that we're aware of. So there you go. The news is reporting all the missing people. And Surfer Boy then meets Michi, who's broken down in her car, and I guess was just like, I'm just going to sleep here for a while. Because he wakes her up and is like, want a Coke? She's like, sure. They join forces to look for Haru. They find her apartment covered in help. And then Michi's like, hey, look at that abandoned factory over there. And they're like, holy shit, she's for sure in there. The last thing you would ever think. You'd just be like, okay, sure. But they go there, and she is there, where she has a plastic bag on her head, which she takes off and shoots herself with 0 blood at all in that scene, which was bizarre. But what can you do? Surfer boy goes to get gas because their car it ran out of gas. He meets a ghost, another ghost, who tells him death is eternal loneliness, and then starts playing modem noise. As I'm reading this ending, I hate this more and more.
Also, you're explaining it quickly, right?
Yes.
And you're hitting all the main points,
Right.
which is fine. If they were also able to do this as quickly as you were doing it, I would have far less of a problem with it.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
It still wouldn't make much sense,
No.
but the fact that it took 2 hours to get to this point is frankly infuriating.
What's weird too is I was thinking about this when I was watching it. What's super weird about the runtime on this, I don't want to say there was no downtime because most of the movie is downtime, but the story is evenly sprinkled across it.
Yeah.
So there's no way to even cut out a section. Usually when we talk about a long movie, we're like, hey, you could have cut this out. You could have cut this chunk out. You can't really do that in this because it's sprinkled so evenly throughout that you have to watch all 2 fucking hours to understand what the fuck is happening.
Right. So what they should have done is just follow one storyline. Just make it about the one. We don't need both. You could have done the same story.
That was weird. Also, wait, can I tell you something? I had rated this movie in 2017.
Oh, I saw.
Oh,
I was going to bring it up after.
Rated too high. I gave it 2 stars. not fucking great. But I did like my written review on it. I thought that was pretty solid, which was
J horror.
More like J borer.
Well done.
Still true. Still true. Don't know why I gave it 2 stars though, but hey.
That's very generous.
It is generous, but also, is it 1 star?
You know what? I think 2 stars is the rating.
I think that's what happened. My ratings are usually, bizarre and all over the place, but
yeah, it's not bad enough for 1 star. It's not like it's not poorly filmed, right?
Right.
Like it's good enough to earn 2 stars.
Right. And it's, if you say 1.5, like you're kind of splitting hairs at that point, and it's like, all right, fine, but whatever.
Yeah.
So Jay Borer, love that. Also, I've been watching a ton of Korean stuff lately for some reason. I've been watching Physical 100, Squid Games, and this movie Exuma that came out, which is so fucking good. Anyway, I started this and I was like, oh my god, this is Japanese. I have to tell Joe we fucked up. I had like this insane brain fart. I was like halfway through a message to you being like, oh my god, we did a Japanese movie instead of a Korean movie. And I was like, wait, what am I doing? What am I fucking doing? This is Japanuary. It took entirely too long for me to figure that out. But anyway. So anyway, Haru, he goes to get gas, but then walks into the forbidden room, I guess.
He does. But that's where yeah. That's the other
Yeah,
person.
that's where he sees the ghost. And then Michi runs in and saves him. But again, she doesn't. Because you don't know what it happens. And also, one of my favorite things about this is that the ghosts just make you super sleepy before you turn into dust.
Yes.
The surfer boy's just a sleepyhead for the rest of the movie after he had the run-in with the ghost, and it's just like, oh, I'm so tired. The fuck? It's so weird. It's so weird. Anyway, they start driving as they watch Tokyo turn into the apocalypse. Planes are crashing, cars are burning.
Calling someone a sleepyhead is so funny, by the way.
Sleepyhead is great.
Also, top 3 most mad I've ever seen somebody get at me. Wow. Me and Paul were working. We were driving in the work truck. Someone was taking a nap under a tree. And Paul said, wake up, sleepyhead. Dude, I never seen somebody want to fight more in my life. Sprinting after our truck as we were driving away.
Yeah. When you hear a story like that, it's one of those things where you're like, that's an insane reaction. But I've also slept in weird places. I've slept in my car and stuff, like in a work parking lot. And I was like, if somebody said that to me, would I just have a weird instinctual anger of being like, "Ah," like just because I got caught doing something stupid?
I don't know if I'd be mad enough to Terminator style run after a truck.
No, no, not the
With two
not
guys.
the T1000 run. Oh, that's for sure. Oh man. So Tokyo's burning. They get in a little boat and ride away. Um, and again, as I mentioned, Wikipedia fills us in on the details here. Where they're picked up by a larger ship, but what we get is just a smash cut to her on the boat narrating it, being like, "Oh well, everything was gone. That was it." And then we see her go into her room, where Surfer Boy turns into a blotch on the wall, and Michi's like, "I'm with my friend forever." The end. That's the end of the fucking movie. Now, again, did not like it, but I did give it a little credit because it felt very artistic and the gaps made you, and I'm not saying this is good or what it was meant to be. The gaps gave it a vibe as well as the visuals. It seemed very low budget and artistic. And so with those gaps, you wonder, hey, maybe they're just trying to make you think, right? What what does it mean? What is death? What is loneliness? All of that. Okay, sure. It's not for me, but I guess that's probably what they were doing. And in that sense, I'm like, all right, fine. Would you agree with that?
I would agree.
Well, America saw this movie. Dimension saw this and said, we got a fucking hit here. If only we could cast hot people, then this movie fucking rocks.
That is what they went for, right?
Yeah, 100%. Hot young white people. Let's add them in it, and hey, also not all white because you got.
Christina Milian.
When I saw that name, blew my fucking hair back. Blew my fucking hair back. But I did not know that was her, and that name I hadn't heard in ages. So all right, so let's take our last break, and we'll be right back. We'll finish up just going through this American one. We are back. American Pulse, 2006, 5 years after.
It had to because you were just talking about how they saw it and were like, hey, we have a hit here. It just had to be the fact that The Ring was such a smash. The Grudge did well, and they're like, what other Japanese movie can we possibly remake? That has to be the only reason for it.
Yeah, and it got play at a festival. That's where they saw it. So I do think it probably skewed on the artistic side, knowing that it played at this international film fest, and not as like a blockbuster, right?
Right.
More of like a thought-provoking movie. And these people at Dimension saw it, and I don't know what they saw, but they were like, they grabbed the rights to the remake immediately, which is insane. Yes. And they give it to Mr. Wes Craven.
They do. Sorry, I'm thinking about my timeline. So I guess my theory doesn't make sense because that came out in 2001, so it would have premiered at the festival in 2001. So yeah, I guess they were just like, hey, we need to do this.
Yeah,
because The Ring hadn't come out yet. Yeah.
Oh fuck! I didn't even think about that either. Oh shit.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. It says right here, Craven started writing the script in 2002. So yeah. So no, they didn't know they had hits on their hands. They just wanted to remake it.
But also, we've talked about this before with how studios do things all at the same time, bizarrely. I wonder if, when did The Ring come out?
2002.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So this was like the first one to get snagged up.
I mean, I'm sure
Huh.
the ring got snagged up first, but yeah,
Maybe it
they for
wasn't
sure didn't
as
know how we would
yeah.
react to it.
It is so interesting. Huh. I actually want to know a little bit more about that. That might be the most interesting thing about Japanuary right now is why
Why
somebody
it
bought
happened? Why it
Pulse.
exists?
That's fucking crazy. Wow, holy shit. That just like fucked my head up. Okay, so I was writing my own narrative there.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was like, wait,
Well, they give it to Wes Craven,
yes,
who likes it, writes a script with Vince
Vince
Gilligan.
Gilligan. Yeah, dude, crazy. X-Files, Breaking Bad.
Now, I wrote this note prior to you and Lexi having a fight in the group chat today about Wes Craven and stuff, and Lexi bringing receipts to defend Wes Craven. uh, but I had a note here where I said I really want to believe this is not the script that we ended up seeing,
It's not.
and it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not. Thank God. Wes Craven was like, I had nothing to do with that.
Can I defend myself for a second? Hardly a fight. All I said
No, I
was
know.
Wes would leave to direct a similar stinker called
Which was
Cursed,
cursed. So,
which Lexi loves.
right. Now,
Cursed
you're right.
sucks.
It
But that
wasn't
said, Cursed is 1,000. It's not even the same ballpark as this piece of shit. I would watch Cursed every day for the rest of my life over
Which,
watching this again.
by the way, and I'll tell the story here in a minute, but Wes did not want to do Cursed.
Right. They forced him to.
Yes, he actually
Wes wanted to
forced
do
his
this. Yeah.
So just put that out there. But you're right. It was, you said that, and then Lexi did this like internal revving up of herself. And it was just, you stopped responding, and she was
had
just,
that ready.
she was just revving herself up, being like, you piece of shit. I'm gonna, and then posting screenshots and being like, and then being like, I'm getting so fucking mad, as if you were continually defending.
I wasn't rebutting anything.
No, and she was just like, "Oh, you motherfucker!" Like he kept coming at her, and it was not happening. Just revving herself up, just imagining your responses in her head.
And she got none. She got zero.
But yeah. So not the script, because again, here it is. So Wes starts working on this. I think he spends 3 years on it, and then the fucking Weinstein freaks ask Craven to do Cursed, and he's like, "No, I don't want to make that fucking movie." So they're like, "Okay, well now Pulse is canceled. We're canceling the movie. So looks like you're doing Cursed, buddy." Fucking insane, insane. Sometimes you read like the politics and shit of Hollywood, and you're like, "Hey, you know what? It fucking is a cesspool." And I'm not talking about the Weinsteins. Obviously, they're fucking disgusting. But I just mean in general, like the whole Hollywood thing. You're just like, oh yeah, this place fucking sucks. It's fucking weird. Like, imagine doing that to somebody, because you have to fire all those people. There's
an established director that was like, I want to do this for your studio, and like I want to dedicate time to making this.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know what? Let's make a werewolf movie where the werewolf gives the middle finger to somebody.
Oh yeah, you don't know the werewolf gives the middle finger yet, but it's our first note that you have to include that. So just start planning to write that in somewhere, because we need to see that. So Dimension is like, okay, Pulse is canceled. Come do Cursed. Pulse gets pulled back in, and they give the movie to Jim Sanzero. Does that name sound familiar?
No, nor
it shouldn't. It shouldn't. He's done nothing, did nothing, and for whatever reason, he's hired, and they hand him a script written by Wes Craven, and one of the greatest television writers ever. Yeah, for sure. For sure. X-Files, Breaking Bad. That's it. If that's in your resume,
you're the greatest.
Yeah. And then, so they give him that script, but then they're like, hey, we're going to give you this guy, Tim Day, this script fucking blows. We're going to
What did
give
he
you...
do? What did he do? What's his accolade?
Well, he's only got 2, and it's Hellraiser Hellseeker and Hellraiser Deader. And then even that guy leaves the project, and then they give it to some other guy who has no credits. Why
Ray
would you?
Wright. Yeah.
Why would you tank a movie? You paid for the rights to this.
A lot too. Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's fucking wild. On a bonus, I did like a solo bonus recently. I forget why I was talking about it. I just ramble on those. But I was talking about the insanity of remaking foreign movies, especially if it's like an English speaking one. And we actually covered that a million years ago when with the House Guest, the New Zealand movie that I loved.
Yeah.
I was like, this movie fucking rules. And then weeks later, they were like, American remake of House Guest coming with Anna Faris. And I was like, you could just play the real movie. They speak English. Well, you know, and I'm not even saying that, yeah, foreign language movies need to be remade, but anyway, it's insane. But imagine the audacity, though, of Pulse and thinking this is so much better than the original. You know,
there can't be anyone on set that had that thought at any given time, right? Like you have to be self-aware.
I would hope so. I would hope so. But it seems like, based on the timeline of everything, it seems like it really was shelved until The Ring became a hit. And that's when they were like, just pump this out. And
right.
This
was just a cash grab. Yeah.
Yeah. Dimension bought Pulse because they believed the concept of an internet-based evil would translate better to an American audience than a Japanese audience.
Okay.
The Japanese don't know what the internet is.
Okay. You know, so that's why every character in this one screaming it at us the entire time.
Very cool. Very fucking cool. The country that makes all of the best electronics in the world are like, man, we don't know what technology is. Fucking insane. Oh, man. Starring Christina Milian. Starring's rough to say there, but
yes.
Every little thing we do should be between me and you. With Ja Rule. And a music video where she has to like pretend to fuck Ja Rule. Can you imagine having to do that? Rat face little freak. Can you grind on Ja Rule and pretend he's hot? No. Maybe that's how she got into acting. Maybe people were like, this might be the best actress in the world. She looks like she actually wants to fuck Ja Rule. And she's still acting today. She is in the new Dexter show, Original Sin, which is Dexter Teens, teen version Dexter.
It's with Sarah Michelle Gellar, right? I haven't seen it yet.
Is she in that too?
I think so.
Oh, that's sick. She plays a young Maria Lagueta.
Oh, okay.
Remember, do you watch Dexter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how annoying Batista and LaGuerta were together?
Of course I do.
It's a fucking nightmare. Angel. And then Batista would be like, he would say her full name. It would be like Maria. I don't even know what her middle name was, but it was like this long fucking name. Maria. Fucking nightmare.
You know, that stupid hat on.
Wearing the fucking fedora 24/7 with his humongous underbite.
It's like, good speaks, man. He came back in the season with Dexter's son. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you watch that one?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
brought him
yeah.
back. Still
Dude.
wearing the fedora.
And I love that. The best part of Batista was literally everyone was like, "Hey, I think Dexter might be a fucking serial killer," and he's like, "Not Dexter."
He's like, no fuck would not know that guy. No fuck way. And then in the season with the Dexter's son, they like break the news like, hey, this killing just happened. He's like, I know exactly who that fucking is.
I can spot him from a mile away. Oh man, fucking wild. Does Dexter deserve a rewatch? I feel like it might.
Both my brothers just did a rewatch and were like, this is amazing. They both said that season 4 is like the best season of television with the Trinity Killer, which I love.
Oh,
I did
Trinity
love that
Killer was nuts.
Great.
That was
Great.
crazy.
Lithgow was incredible. It just they should have stopped after that. There's no way to come back.
Yeah. The last episode was so fucking insane.
Comes a lumberjack.
Wait, they revealed the lumberjack at the end of the last episode, right?
Right. Yeah.
I do. I love that they were. I love that when they did that last season, I guess you call it the final season or whatever. I love that they were like had to backwards be like, how the fuck do we get him? How the fuck do we get him into a lumberjack? What do we do here? I think they did all right though.
I disagree.
Really? I think I might need to rewatch it.
Yeah, that was not for me.
Okay. Oh man, you had Jonathan Tucker in this, who was in 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Ruins, Charlie's Angels. Octavia Spencer is in this as the landlady.
Yep. Ma.
Yeah, Ma. Brad Dourif, his character name, which we already talked about him, but his character name is Thin Bookish Guy. Brad, why did you take that? You don't have to. There's no way you needed to take Thin Bookish Guy. You know? Anyway. So, unlike the other movies we've done, where the remake was, I don't want to say scene for scene, but very close, right? And we were able to just be like, hey, this is different. This is different. This is why it's stupid. This one, as similar as it is a totally different story.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You have this guy, Josh, who looks like he's 50 and wearing like a teen skater wig, which is nutty. He's awful. We meet him in the library looking for ghosts and this guy named Ziegler, and the ghosts from the jump are like, oh, like scary faced and soul sucking.
Loud, yeah.
And then there's what you said his name earlier. I always blank on his name. The Not Another Teen Movie guy.
Oh, Sam Levine.
Sam Levine is in this. How did Sam Levine get roles? It is crazy to me. He just doesn't. His best fit. I mean, I never watched Freaks and Geeks. I imagine he probably fit into that pretty well.
He's good.
My point is he is so young looking that he just does not fit into any role that he was aged to play. And I think Not Another Teen Movie was his perfect role.
Agreed with that. Completely agreed.
He just fit it perfectly. And I mean, he was hilarious in it. But everything else he is in, he just sticks out. And you're just like, who is this weird little baby-faced guy? You know? And he's hanging out with this crew of people, including Kristen Bell, who plays Maddie. And they all look 10 years older than him and are all 3 foot taller than him. And you're just like, does this guy really fit in here? And you don't even use him to his potential in this, where he could have been some comic relief, and he's not. He's just in a bunch of scenes.
He's acting very straight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very odd. And he has a thing for Maddie. That doesn't matter, though. That really doesn't matter. I don't even know why they wrote it into the movie, but it's very strong in the movie at the beginning where he's obsessed with Maddie. And That's all that matters. Josh is kind of the Taguchi in this. He's the first victim. And this movie is such a nightmare. There's montages of Kristen Bell getting ready for school. The vibe of it is so crazy, and force fed the use of cell phones and the internet just from the beginning. Everyone's on their phone. Everyone's talking about the internet as if they all just got plugged in for the first time. The scene at the bar with the guy being like, "Can you believe you can look up any pornography you want?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, it's 2006." Like,
yeah, of course. Very well aware, but been aware most of my life.
Like, what are we talking about?
It's like, it sounds weird to say, but like, because like 2006 doesn't have a distinguishable vibe, right? But if you showed this to somebody, I can guarantee they'd be like, "Hey, this was made in 2006." Like, I've never seen anything more egregiously 2006.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. The outfit, everything about it was wild. Maddie goes to check on Josh, finds his empty apartment. So it's the same as the first one, but Josh hangs himself with. I like that Josh had to hang himself with an internet cable.
Of course,
an Ethernet cable. Couldn't.
Which again, in 2006, Wi-Fi was very prevalent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was 100%. Yeah, dude, the hacking that this movie goes into, it had a very 90s like hacker vibes in it. It was that movie where it was like, "Can you break into the mainframe?" And instead, they had to also. They couldn't get phone calls. Like in Pulse, they were getting the phone calls that were like, "Help me, help me." And this one, they're getting instant messages, IMs from Josh being like, "Help me." And they're like, "Who the fuck has Josh's computer sending instant messages to all of us?" So they send one of the friends, this kid Stone, to go get the computer. He gets got. By a ghost lady. The ghost lady. That scene happens there. He lives, of course. He acts super weird. He's depressed. And in this one, they get black spots on their skin.
Yes.
Which I thought was going to replace the black spots on the wall, but it does not. Those are also still there. So this is just whatever, added for whatever reason. So Maddie goes to the apartment now where Octavia Spencer is, and she's the landlord cleaning. And she reveals that she sold the computer to someone named Dexter to help pay the rent because Josh was behind on the rent. And by the way, Kristen Bell threatens to call the police, and she's like, "Okay, listen, this is what happened." As if Octavia Spencer had like crimes to conceal. What? The guy was behind on rent, so, relax. Anyway, so it's this guy Dexter who Maddie confronts very quickly. This movie moves quick. How I burned through the original, but it was not the speed of it. This is the speed of this movie. Kristen Bell talks to the landlady and just jump cuts, and she somehow has found the guy with the computer in some parking garage and is like, "Hey,
him.
Hey, asshole, I heard you bought my boyfriend's computer." And she's like, "Hey, you fucking messaging us?" And he's like, "Hey, it's in my trunk." This guy has never used a computer in his life, by the way, but he's now the computer master. Question: who's wearing a skimpier outfit, Dexter or any other woman in this movie?
Dexter.
Dexter. The one thing that stood out, like you said, it felt very 2006. You got the low-rise jeans. You got the I don't know what you call the shirts, belly shirts. I don't know. I think there's a different word for it. But anyway, all the women are wearing those, and you're like, "Oh yeah, this is 2006." And then they show Dexter, and he's in the same fucking outfit. And you're like, "Holy fucking shit, this is fucking crazy." Anyway, Dexter plugs in the computer. He sees the videos, and he gets to see the bags and the shootings very early on, unlike the other one. Uh, the crew gets a package from Josh, who had sent it 2 days before he died, and it said it keeps them out. Don't know why. And there was he shipped them. He lives down the street. He shipped them a package of red tape. Now,
Yes.
this guy who is friends with everyone in this crew, he just committed suicide. Very sad. And they Kristen Bell's like, what does this mean? And Christine Milan's character is like, he went fucking nuts. Get over it. And you're like, oh, holy shit. Okay, cool. Very cool. Very sensitive there. And then on the news, they're already, as you mentioned, they're talking about the epidemic of suicides in the city. That night, Dexter sees Maddie at the club. And he's like, your fucking boyfriend watches some weird, scary shit. However, he does have the one point that I actually really liked, which was like, hey, I think your boyfriend's making snuff films and selling them on the internet because shit's all over his computer.
Yes. Which is
So I was like,
honestly a logical conclusion.
Right. I was like, oh, okay, maybe we're gonna spin this a different way here. And okay, I'm cool with this. But it's not, because Maddie's just like, nope. And he's like, oh, okay. Got it. Understood. Fair. Maddie sees the video. She freaks out. I don't know why no one's calling the police, but these are snuff videos. Because again, the videos are on this guy's hard drive. They're not on the internet. They are on the internet, but they're not really on the internet.
Right.
Anyway. Maddie starts seeing ghosts just around in real life. Not really a concern, I guess, to anyone. Everyone's killing themselves. That's it. Tons of B-roll of people just using their cell phones. It's insane. They do the same suicide thing from the original where she's just walking outside. But to crowbar this in, there's a giant water tower in their college, like in the quad. It's just a fucking water tower a woman jumps off of the middle of campus. It's fine. A bathtub ghost, but there are ghosts. This movie is rotten with
It's
ghosts.
13 ghosts. Yeah.
It's crazy. Just everywhere. They're everywhere. And it's so funny because you do see the notes to these writers had to have been, and maybe it's why they pulled Wes off of it. Maybe, who knows? We'll never know. And maybe why they pulled off a second writer to put on some other guy, because it just seemed like they wanted them to do The Ring and The Grudge and be like, put her in the bathtub and have a ghost pop out. Okay, what? And by the way, this one really hammers home. These are internet ghosts. These are ghosts on the World Wide Web. And they're just showing up in bathtubs. But I did, that scene made me laugh. As you mentioned, there's a few laugh out loud moments. That scene made me laugh out loud because, in American horror movies with ghosts and stuff, it'll be like, you'll see the ghost and then they'll look and it's actually, a broom or something. It's something standing there. This was her fucking loofah sponge. She freaks out. She sees a ghost and she's like, oh my God. And then it cuts back and it's just her loofah floating there. Like, that's a fucking sick move. A fucking loofah. Anyway, Kristen Bell takes a shit at school and shares a tender moment with a ghost in the stall next to her. They both have their ears put up to it to hear each other shitting. Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Ghost shit. Sam Levine watches his buddy Stone get sucked into a black spot on the wall, so that's nuts.
Yeah, that's the scene that killed me.
Now, in the Japanese one, the red tape was a thing. The Forbidden Room was a thing. you just sealed the door shut, right? And that was it with the red tape. And that was kind of don't go in there. There was no, this keeps them out, this does anything. It was just like, don't go in here, a ghost is here kind of thing. You actually don't even know if that's what it is. It's just, honestly, the tape just shows up on doors. I don't know who's putting it there or what, but it's there. In this one, as we mentioned, they got a note being like, the tape keeps them out. So we watched Sam Levine cover 18 windows in red tape, fully covering the windows in red tape. And then he runs out of tape. And then a ghost with no face and just a giant mouth bursts through a peephole and gets him. But again, the ghosts don't actually kill them. It just make them sleepy and then they die or turn into dust. Whatever. Dude, you're going with the ghost angle and you're just changing the way they look every fucking scene. A mouth ghost, or just a
They
giant...
all look totally different.
A fucking Langolier ghost? Like, what? That's fucking nuts. That's fucking crazy. And then later there's like spider ghosts, like ghosts with spider arms.
They're monsters. Yeah.
And then in the next scene, it's just a bunch of people standing on the roof of a building.
Right.
Just ghost people. Holy fuck.
I hate this movie, dude.
This movie sucks so bad. They find some videos Josh left talking about this guy Ziegler and something about something came out of the system. He's like, it's burning every firewall. It's frying every circuit. And I'm making a virus to stop it. So they're like, oh, he made a virus. We got to get the virus to stop them. Q Bread Dwarf's awesome cameo.
Yes.
Saying the internet's going to kill us. That's the end of that. Everyone starts getting attacked. Spider ghosts start killing people, but not killing them. Just, again, turning them into black spots. Josh gets hacked by the ghosts. Or, no, not Josh. The other guy. It doesn't matter. The news gets hacked by the ghosts. Maddie watches Sam turn into a dust.
Yep.
Or no, she sees him on the TV, and he's like, I just wanted to see you, Maddie. So in this one, they can watch you through the screen also. Not explained. That's the last we'll see of that. Phones aren't working. 911 is shut down. So they're going with the same thing of
Apocalyptic.
But it's so rushed, you don't even have time to fucking digest
Process it. Yeah, exactly.
And no one in the movie is digesting it. No one is even like, what is happening? Like 911 is shut down. Like, what the fuck is happening? This makes no sense. It is very weird. And also in this one, everyone's getting like black shit on them when they get seen by ghosts.
Yep.
That's also not explained. Dexter shows up with every solution they could possibly need. He shows up and is like, hey, don't worry. I got the virus. I got Ziegler's tapes. I got his address. We're good to go. But then their car gets hit by another car, so they can't go anywhere. But then they run into a group of people. What's that? Oh, no driver, right? Because he disappeared, right? So that was that's a big reveal right there. So they get out and they start walking, and then they get a hit and run mangle expert in this scene, which was fucking amazing and so weird because they, like we talked about it earlier with the zombie apocalypse vibes. These people see the issue here is people are gone. They're disappearing.
Right.
It's not like they turn into zombies and you don't know who's human, who's zombie. And they find Dexter and Maddie and they're like, get the fuck out of my face. Like they're about to
pull a gun on them. Yeah.
And they're like, we're people. Like, hey, we know. The ghosts look like fucking ghosts.
Nightmares.
But they're the best mangle experts because they fly into the scene. And they're like, they're coming through the computers. They're doing this. This is what it's doing. Get rid of your internet connection. You got to go somewhere with no internet and no technology. And then they're like, all right, we got to go. Bye. And then,
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. I've never seen a mango expert that fucking concise and quick. Just fucking hit you with it right away.
Right into the screen. Yeah, you don't have to sit down and pull out an old book
or even
a drive-by mango expert.
Drive-by mango expert. There wasn't even an I think. They were just like, this is what's happening.
This is what's happening. Yeah. Yeah.
And they find Ziegler, who talks for so long, and I can't tell you a single fucking thing he says. You could play it right now, and I could not tell you what he's saying, or what he's fucking talking about, or what it means to the fucking movie. He's just fucking babbling.
Yes.
Oh my God. But they open up this big conversation about this will to live aspect, which again was more of a hidden theme in the Japanese one, more of a undertone. And then this one, Ziegler's like,
nothing subtle in this fucking movie.
They take away your will to live, and then you turn into a spot. And that's what happens when you lose your will to live. Okay, cool. Fucking insane. After getting kicked out of Ziegler's, they're mobbed by ghosts. And again, like zombies, they're banging on the door. Dexter tries to hold the door, and of course, they just walk through it. Ultimately, Maddie ends up in the basement, still being chased by ghosts who can appear anywhere, except next to her, apparently. They just literally just show up wherever they want, and doesn't matter. She breaks the tape seal on a door to a server room where she sees herself on camera. She gets captured by the ghosts, brought into a computer world where she sees Josh, gets grabbed by hands, but Dexter saves her. I don't know what Dexter does, honestly, at this point, but I guess he somehow does a virus, because right before he gets got by a ghost, the system reboots. And I was like, oh, that's the end of the movie. Okay, so the virus killed the ghosts. Nope, the computers just turn back on and the ghosts are back.
Like immediately. Immediately.
He literally just reset the computers. Oh my God. And again, I could see this being an effective moment in another movie if they even let it breathe for like a minute.
Dude, that was my exact thought. Like, give us a second of like feeling of safety for these characters.
It says he does it, everything turns off, and he's like, whoo, and then it says system rebooting, and it's on immediately, and then the ghost is back. Like, what the fuck am I watching? Oh man, they flee. There's ghosts everywhere. They have a romantic, tender moment in the car as the world ends. They think they're safe, but she still has her phone. And they are attacked by a giant spider ghost, who again doesn't appear in the car because that would be too easy.
Too convenient. Yeah.
Too convenient. He's hanging on to the outside of the car like I don't even know. And anyway, so they're fighting off the ghost while driving, but her phone loses service and the ghosts die. Now, this whole movie, they've known this. Everyone has told them. They had an encounter with Mangle experts where they screamed it in their face at gunpoint. And they look at each other to reveal that the ghosts use the internet to get them. I could not believe it. I actually rewound it because I was like, that can't be what they're actually saying here, right?
It's the Zoolander, but why male models? Everyone just fucking told you, man.
Dude, they look at each other and they're like, it's the fucking internet.
which they just tried to shut down the server because they knew that fact 2 minutes before this.
Oh God. It's So she throws her phone out the window and they drive away and get a narration. We can never go back to our lives. We can never go back. Our lives are different now. What was supposed to connect us together connected us to forces we could never imagine. As we zoom in on Josh, Ghost Josh, in some apartment building. Don't even think it's it. In a scene that I think we were supposed to be like, holy shit.
Correct. Yeah.
The fuck are we doing? And that is the end of Pulse the American movie. So, which one are you watching?
Begrudgingly, the Japanese one.
It's crazy because I think when we've had conversations similar to this, I would have probably aired on the shorter movie.
For sure.
And been like, if they're both bad, I'll just watch the shorter one.
I will never watch this again.
Joe, you would have to just smash my head in with a fucking mallet to get me to sit and watch one of these again. Which is crazy because I did not remember the original, but we talked about it in the chat before we recorded where there were moments of the first one where I was like, has there been any dialogue? And I know I'm like reading the screen, but it's so slow and it was almost background noise.
Right. You could watch it without subtitles and kind of get the same gist that you'd get.
Yeah. And it was just, that's probably why I didn't remember it when I looked it up on letter. I remembered the garden. That's what that opening scene where they're working on plants. I was like, oh, I think I've seen this. And that's when I looked it up on Letterboxd. I had no recollection really of what it was, but man, I understand why. It's just a very forgettable movie and nothing happens. But the American one is abrasive.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Not fucking fun. So that is that. That's Pulse. That's the end of Japanuary, unless you're on Patreon, and then we'll talk about The Grudge. I don't know when that's going to get released, but you'll see The Grudge out there. We'll talk about The Grudge, American and Japanese one. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll actually be fun to revisit after Pulse, you know?
Will it?
No.
Okay.
A kid making cat noises. Fuck. We're fucking insane. Cat bells, cat voice in case. The old people in both movies just sitting around. It's awful. Anyway. And in that one, Sam Raimi got involved.
What is happening?
So that's it. We got our live show this Friday. Sadako versus Kayako. Kayako. So watch that with us. Sure to be a great one. I'm so excited for Japanuary to be over, my friend. I am very excited, mostly excited because we get to go straight into found footage February.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite month.
Wow.
It took us too long to get there, but you know me. Love that found footage. Producer Lexi was actually trying to pitch not doing found footage, and she was like, I know you like it, so I guess we have to do it. I was like, I'm not giving it up. I finally got it. Last year was our first year. I was like, I'm not giving it up. I have to do some found footage. They're just the worst. They're just so bad, and I love them. I love them so much. So I'm excited to do found footage. I think we're kicking it off with, well, I don't know. We'll have to think about it. We were supposed to be kicking it off with the Wendigo.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. So that's it. It's the Wendigo. And we're going to do also on our slate this year. I'll just tell you the fucking slate right now.
Okay.
So we're going to do Well, there's also supposed to be this. Anyway, I'm gonna ignore that. So we're gonna do the Wendigo one. I think it's called the Wendigo. We're gonna do Paranormal Activity 2.
All right.
Joe's
My favorite.
favorite series. And then an interesting one, The Den.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. As I remember, I really liked it. Does not mean that's the case.
Always fun to revisit. Yeah, yeah.
I believe it's Danish, so that'll be fun. So that's our slate for found footage February. And then for the live show, I don't know if you know or saw it on the thing. I'm thinking Creep for the live show.
Let's do it.
That's a good one. That's a fun one.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So that's found footage February. That's coming up. A lot of other exciting stuff coming up. We were supposed to be we never announced it because it never got official, but we were supposed to be going to LA actually at the end of this month. But things fell through, and I don't think we'd even be able to get out there with the wildfires that are out there now.
Not a good time.
Which is super sad.
Yeah.
That stuff usually doesn't impact me. I'm, soulless, I guess. And it's that shit is fucking crazy.
Yeah, to see like how little is left of some areas. It's wild.
It's fucking insane. Now, not even to make light of this. Have you read the conspiracies about the laser beams?
I haven't, but I saw that after the Hawaiian ones.
Oh, really? That was a thing before? Oh, that's fucking nuts. But the lasers don't impact the color blue. Did you hear about this?
I have not, no.
And they said if you look at all the pictures, things that are blue didn't get burned.
I feel like that's not true.
Hey, it's 100% not true. I mean, none of it is, but fucking nuts. I saw that. I was like, we are doing whatever we want out here these days. We are just spitting the wildest shit. So anyway, our thoughts to all of our LA listeners, who we have a lot of them, and
stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So
on that topic, be a good time to say rest in peace to Catherine G, Katie G, longtime supporter of us, passed away this past week, and she was really close with a lot of our listeners. She talked to them quite frequently. So to everyone that knew Katie, it's a bummer. She's a good person.
Yeah, that is. So rest in power. What a week.
Yes.
What a week. Well, that's a fun way to end this episode. That's it. I actually don't know how to continue after that. That's it for the horror show. No, but thank you to everyone. Thank you so much. I want to thank Joe. I feel like there was something else I needed to do, but I can't think. I don't think so. Anyway, who cares? Check out The Grudge. Oh, I know. Patreon.com/IHateHorror. The Grudge episode will be there. We got the live show coming up, so join us there. And check us out on YouTube. I don't think YouTube gives you personalized links, so just go to our website, IHateHorror.com. Check out the YouTube version of the show now, free for everybody. And Spotify video is cool, and we're getting a lot of good feedback on that. So thank you all for watching and supporting those things. And yeah, Facebook.com/IHateHorror, Instagram @IHateHorror. And sorry, I was just reading something. And that's it. So thanks to Joe. Thanks to Lexi. Thanks to my Uncle Raleigh, who he showed me so much art. He showed me Art Crumb. He showed me Mad Magazine. He introduced me to some super weird sci-fi shit and had every fucking Twilight Zone episode taped off of TV and categorized with a fucking notebook that told you which VHS tape number to watch to find a fucking episode. Unreal. It's where I get my Plex obsession from, probably. But shout out to him. And I really wanted to record this and show it to him, but unfortunately can't. A fucking San Antonio legend. So thank you, Uncle Riley. So, and that's it. And thanks to all of you for listening, and rate, subscribe, and send us an email, Sean at I Hate Horror. We'll get you some stickers, and appreciate you all. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.